Hi, everybody. My name is Christopher Hudson, and I'd like to welcome you to our Polygon Golf YouTube channel. First of all, what I'd like to talk about is how you can make the absolute most perfect golf swing without trying to overthink things, without trying to manipulate things. Because again, the golf swing, we got to get into the correct posture. We've got to take the club away. Then we've got to set it on this inclined plane. Then we got to go to the top. Then there's a transition. Then we got to come here and make sure we don't flip, make sure we don't early extend. Then we've got to follow through and accelerate the club head through the hitting area and then end up in a perfect balanced position. Okay, that's a lot. That could be like 10 to 20 different videos right there, breaking it down piece by piece. But what if I told you there was really a simple way to perform the golf swing at the highest level humanly possible? Right? Think about that for a minute. If you could just use a tool that is going to show you, literally show you step by step by step, without having to get caught up in, did I hit this position correctly? Or did I hit that position correctly? Or did this happen or that? And there's no more questions. Well, I'm about to show you. This is called the PolygonGolf Swing Trainer. Right now it's set up in the path or the pattern that is used by the hands and how to make things work correctly so that the club allows the club head to travel in a perfect circle around the tilted spine. So here we go. It's real simple. All we have to do, we've got, first of all, before I get ahead of myself, this is the baseline. Then we've got R1, R2, R3 in the top line. Then we've got the baseline again, and we've got L1, L2, L3 in the top line. So when we get set up, these posture poles that are on the side, they are set at 60 degrees in relationship to the ground. Pretty easy to understand. I've got great posture. I'm in balance. I'm just very, very athletic. I can, go all over the place here, which is cool. But when I get set up, I'm like, okay, I'm right here. So now that I'm here, all I've got to do is simply follow the pattern in the guides of the Polygon Golf Swing Trainer, and everything is going to work out and allow me to come into this perfect balanced position. Period. There's no more guesswork. If you can just follow the guides every single time, and it's pretty hard not to see them. See, the biggest problem is in golf, like I don't care what method you use, the modern swing teaching where they bump to the right, pivot around that, or Mike Austin, pivot this way and then pivot around that, and then what she calls a compound pivot. It works out really well. Then you've got the stack and tilt guys, and that can work really well. The modern swing can work really well. Well, if all these things can work really well, how come the majority of amateurs, maybe you, maybe one of your friends, just have a very difficult time shooting good scores, or playing good golf, or hitting it the proper distance? They know that they can hit it, but instead of hitting it a minimum of 260, 270, most golfers are stuck at hitting it around 200 to 210. Maybe if they're on their best day, they might hit it 220. Well, if all these methods that are out there are so great, which again they are if you know what you're doing, then why aren't people getting better? Literally, ask yourself, how come I'm not getting better? The point is, no matter what method you're using, when you can add the ingredient, the visual ingredient that is going to show you step by step by step the path of how the hands have to work, the path of how this club head has to move in three-dimensional space, then, shooting in the 70s is not something that you can't do. That's the honest to God truth. Most people are going to tell you, oh, it's going to take you years to take strokes off your game. It's going to take you years to learn the proper golf swing. Well, what if I told you it's not? It literally is not. When you stand in here, now again, this is set up for the path of the club. We've got one that it shifts, it changes shapes, and it sets you for how we move the body at Polygon Golf, but you could also do it for any other method that you choose to use. But right now, we're talking about the path of the club and how easy it is to do. So we're going to get set up. Then we're going to just follow the guides in the blueprints to have this really, really incredible swing. Now watch what's going on, because this is truly amazing. Now I know how to move my body correctly in three-dimensional space and all that. But if you notice what's going on with my hands, and I'm following the correct path once I'm in good posture, I'm following with my hands. And all of a sudden, my body right there, believe it or not, I have weight, more pressure on my left side at this point in my swing. Think about that for a minute. Most people are saying, oh, we got to get to the top, make this bump, transition out, and all this other crap. The truth is, watch what happens to my body. My body, when I move this club absolutely correctly, inside, there it is, my weight's on my left. I've got the weight on my heel, you can see right here in my right foot, but I am pressurized into the ground at my left, and I'm halfway up into my backswing, okay? Which is absolutely phenomenal. So as I continue to go up, look at that move. I am moving to the left to be able to turn my body. Now that's just a benefit that you're gonna get. But all you've gotta do, again, sorry about this cord. All you've gotta do is right there, there it is. I am already on my left. I'm following the path with my hands. You can see the butt of the club as it's moving, and it just releases through the shot. And then I'm going to get into this perfect position, perfect finish position. The simplest way for a human being to learn anything is to be able to sincerely see the pattern that is required and then follow that pattern so that you can learn. The human being, all of us, it doesn't matter if you're 5, it doesn't matter if you're 90. We can all follow a pattern once we have established where that pattern is. Now it surrounds us in three-dimensional space, just like it does here. The cool part about this product, the PolygonGolf Swing Trainer, is it's not restrictive. It's not something hitting up against your body. It's not something that's restricting your hip movement or your shoulder turn. Everybody says, oh, you got to be flexible to get this shoulder turn. No, you don't. You have to learn how to move your body correctly so that your body can turn and make the movements that's necessary to make it appear like you have a big shoulder turn. What do I mean by that? Watch this. This is really cool. I'm going to be here. I'm going to follow the geometry in three-dimensional space, and boom, I've got a tremendous shoulder turn is what it looks like. But if I stand up, you can see how I'm really just in the R1 part of the PolygonGolf Swing Trainer. But there's more to it than that, of course. But all of a sudden, I'm just following it. Because this hip is moved out of the way, because I followed the geometry, now all I got to do is follow it in the opposite direction, and boom. A lot of people are going to call this like a single plane swing. Whatever. Don't think about it like planes, because planes is, I can't tell you how many planes there are in the golf swing. There are so many different planes in the golf swing that it would boggle your mind and confuse you even more. Then they talk about a single plane, drop it down onto a two-plane swing. They get up, they drop it down. Well, they're dropping it down on this geometry. So throw all that plane stuff out the window and start understanding it as a path and a pattern. And when you can understand the pattern, like tying your shoes, brushing your teeth, you don't think twice about that stuff. You just get up there, you do it, boom, you move on, you go about the rest of your day. Pretty simple, right? Same thing happens here with the PolygonGolf Swing Trainer. If you really want to improve your game and you really want to start playing the best golf of your life, the PolygonGolf Swing Trainer is the ultimate tool that is going to teach you every single aspect of your golf swing. And it's not just for the full swing. If I want to take a little chip shot, come up there, boom, every single time. Real simple to do. If I want to take a half shot, boom, I'm right there. Now I'm coming down. See how the hands are getting back in front of the right thigh? I'm releasing, but I'm not thinking, get this and hold on to it where I'm going to hold that club head open. All I'm simply doing is telling myself, Chris, follow the PolygonGolf Swing Trainer, the pattern, and every single time it's going to repeat itself. It's going to become consistent. And when it's consistent, you can play some of the best golf of your life. Instead of hitting it 220, you're now going to hit it 260, 270, 280, 300 yards plus, depending on your physical strength. It doesn't have to do depending on my flexibility. It has to do with how, when I make these moves in the PolygonGolf Swing Trainer, how fast can I swing this club through? That's all it gets down to. Can I swing this club faster than I am today? Well, when you are 100% efficient in the body movements that you're making, along with the efficiency of the club going on the correct path, on the correct plane, because the PolygonGolf Swing Trainer will tilt forward and backwards at 5-degree increments from 30 to 60 degrees. So if you got a flat swing, that's great. If you're swinging 45, that's great too. 60, dropping it down. It doesn't matter. The method doesn't matter. Even the method that I teach, which is more of a shifting movement, staying around it. So like for me at Polygon Golf, it's a shift and then it's around, and I've already put my weight on my left. Now I'm coming back down. That's the way I teach. But just because I'm teaching that way, there's 100 ways to do this. But there is only one way to improve at whatever method you're using, and that is to understand the geometric pattern with these guides and angles that are truly 90 and 45 degrees set here that we're going to maintain and have a relationship with at all times. Think about what I just said there. Maintain and have a relationship with at all times. And the nice part is you don't have to think about it. You just get in here and say, okay, I'm going to follow this pattern. Wow, that's a really good position. I'm going to follow this pattern. Boom. Everybody thinks about all this position golf and all this crap. It doesn't matter anymore. Whatever method you're using, when you can see the geometry and you can follow the geometry and the pattern, it becomes real simple to start hitting this golf ball with massive authority. Massive authority. When you can hit a ball and it feels like you haven't done anything because you haven't had to think about anything, and you've just got the reps and the correct movements inside the PolygonGolf Swing Trainer, guess what happens? It carries over to the golf course. We've all heard like, God, I hit the ball so good on the driving range, but when I get to the golf course, it flies all over the place. Maybe it's a depth perception problem. Maybe it's an alignment problem. Who knows? But it just doesn't translate over. Well, I can tell you why it doesn't, because what you're doing on the driving range is not what you're doing on the golf course. You're sitting on the driving range beating ball after ball after ball. On the golf course, there's time in between that. But you have to learn how to train your body and your mind correctly so that it'll transfer from the golf course to the driving range, to the driving range, to the golf course, to the putting green, to the practice putting green, to the chipping area, to the bunkers. It's all the same swing. But when you can truly realize that there is this geometric pattern, again, this is set up for the hands and the path of the club. There's another one that's set up for the body. And it's the same product. One, they just morph into each other. But the game of golf becomes so easy that finally getting into the 70s, and all of you that are out there in the hundreds, 90s, and 80s are going, oh my God, how can I get into the 70s? You know, I work at my game, I try to play, I just don't see how that's humanly possible. Well, guess what? It is humanly possible. You got to remember, like Ben Hogan said, if you know what you're doing, it's pretty hard to shoot over 80. And let me tell you, he is absolutely right. Right, beyond a shadow of a doubt. But now what we've got is the true pattern and the blueprint that we can follow, because the human being and the brain, the mind, is a pattern recognition machine. So again, don't want to take up too much more of your time, but you owe it to yourself to check out PolygonGolf.com, and please keep coming back here to our channel here on YouTube, and you are going to learn more about the golf swing through the use of geometry and how to perform a perfect golf swing, no matter what method you're using, because we're adding in the missing link of the geometry that surrounds the body in three-dimensional space. Again, my name is Christopher Hudson. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.